Dark and moody, moody and dark. It's been real from the start. Speak the truth, then you playing your part. Nothing fake here. We've been real since daycare. Some change, some stay there. Came from the streets, we speak for the streets, we speak for the youth. Nothing but truth. Feel it in the booth, feel it in your soul, feel it in the cell, feel it on parole, feel it on probation, feel it when you free, totally free. Pardon me, till they pardon me, till they pardon we. Positivity from negativity, back to positivity. The podcast for the streets, helping you eat. We live by the code, we live what we speak. We revolutionize real love, honor, respect, loyalty, educating the masses, bringing unity. It's all or nothing. The podcast for you and me is Dark and Moody. We the voices of the community.
I hear voices right now. I can hear them just as plain as day.
Yeah. What up? This your boy Dark.
And it's your boy D Moody, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's Dark and Moody, all or nothing, straight out of Connecticut. You feel me? We got a special guest in the building. Everybody our special guests, man, when they here. You know what I'm saying? Tell them your name, brother.
Tom Daniels.
You know what I'm saying? Tom Daniel. Everybody know Tom, man.
Everybody know Tom.
Tom. Every side of town know Tom, man. Why they know Tom, man?
Oh man, this thing go back to little boy, man. Started out fighting.
Everybody know Tom the scrapper.
Listen, and that's what I was waiting. It came right to it. I was gonna be like, for me, growing up hearing about Tom, they said, yeah, he's with his hands on a lot of people. His hands is working. I was a wrestling fan. You know, it was first time, you know. Well, it started out like I'm the oldest of four.
Yeah, hold on, we gonna get into all that.
But that's the pressure came from home. But anyway,
yeah, you the oldest of the four.
I'm the oldest of four.
All right, that's how it is with me. I'm the oldest of four.
So you understand. You can relate. I'm like the second on one side and the fourth on another.
Yeah, I whooped mine's. My little bro, he got these hands. Yo, but yeah, man, tell the people where you from, man. First and foremost, man.
I'm from New Haven. Money Craven,
New Haven, man.
Money Craven.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Is there an area that you used to, you gonna get into as when you was a kid, but is there an area that you
were playing? Somebody
you
like,
rap.
yo, where you from, man? Where you from?
Man, I know we're older now. We probably to let us know. It doesn't matter because it's part of growing up. Like, my mom's, we always was the new kids on the block anyway, so my mom stayed moving. So but mainly between Fairhaven and the Hill.
Yeah.
And Franklin Street before it was called the G. But that's what it was. When I was hanging, it was just Franklin Street.
Yeah.
So, but mainly my grandmother, my grandparents owned a house on Haven Street in Fairhaven about probably close to 50 years, and my mom mainly moved around. We grew up in the Hill.
Word. So somebody be like, yo, Tom, where you from, man? What's the question? What you gonna say?
Herbert Street.
Shout out to Herbert Street, man. I know a lot of people from
Little Brooklyn. That was that's what it was back then. Herbert Street, between Herbert Street, started on Commerce Avenue. Herbert Street, in the bridge. I mean, shout out to my L dudes, man. But shout out to my other niggas too, man. They always come through. They've been on the show. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad I got me a Hillen up here. I went to Fairhaven and Farnham with them cats. So man, plug it back.
So you know what it is, man. There's a lot of project dudes, man.
I was in Fairhaven with man. Dana Black, Nunu was my best friend in the 6th grade.
Matthew Bowden, shouts out to my guy.
So Poochie always called me his son for some reason.
Yeah.
Leo was definitely my man.
No doubt.
And the Moselle brothers, our grandfathers used to go fishing together.
Right.
So, that's how
Lee Bone, Dana Black, and Troy, man. Shout out to y'all guys.
Definitely.
And shout out to them Giants, man. What up? What's going on? You see that right there. Shout out to the Giants.
Yo,
man.
if I knew you was gonna wear that hat, I'd have my New England joint on, man.
Damn.
Word up.
I'm glad we get along some level because I'm a cowboy.
Oh, you a Cowboys fan?
I'm a cowboy.
Damn, man.
Keith Jackson, man.
1977 cowboy.
Yeah. Yo, Connecticut saturated with Cowboy fans.
Oh. He just said something right quick, dog.
What?
19 what?
77.
But you
Damn,
been down with the Cowboys since then?
No.
Yeah.
He
I was born.
You was born at
1977.
Yeah, I was going to Hill Central.
Oh, man.
I was in kindergarten.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah, man. So yo, tell the people how you grew up, man. What kind of household you grew up in, man?
I grew up in of course my mother ran a household. It was 4 of us. We mainly really grew up around my sister Mike, my father. He was in our lives for about close to 10 years. So but that all ended in 83. We got kind of hit hard because we was used to it, so we felt the effects, like,
A certain kind of lifestyle.
Man, kind of lifestyle.
No, I'm saying like growing up with him till 83, it was a certain kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, it was a 2-parent setting.
2-parent household till 83.
Till 83, yeah.
And then it got a little real.
Yes, it was just us and our moms.
Yeah.
Shout out to Babby, man.
Yeah, so Sister Barbara nowadays.
I left. That was her name.
Yeah, that was a long time ago too. But I grew up, with 3 siblings up under me. So naturally, my brothers and sisters they looked up to me, and being the oldest. When we all started going to school together, I was about 8 years old when me, Tyrone, Trey all started going to school. She had said to me, you the oldest, all 3 of you are going to school. You got 2 brothers you got to look at, protect. And the pressure came in when she made this statement to me. You can't come home beat up.
Oh, your brothers can't come home.
No, me.
Oh,
Like,
you can't get beat up.
You go out there, you better win, or I'm gonna kick your butt.
I'm the oldest, man. This is a lot of pressure on the 2nd grade, man.
Yeah.
I'm in the 2nd grade.
I know that life, man.
Yeah, so you understand.
Yeah. I was the oldest. I know that life.
Right.
I was a scrapper too. I
Right.
fought everybody in the project.
Of course,
Everybody.
scrappers know scrappers.
Yeah.
What
Everybody my age, I scrapped them down.
All my friends, I fought.
Yeah.
If I talk about somebody from back in the day, that's my man. We fought.
Yeah. I became friends with a lot of dudes after we fought.
Yeah.
I
I got cool with the tough people, the people that it was like a tough fight. We got cool.
So you and Scooter was a tough fight.
That was my best friend
Yeah, I used to fight.
all the time. Before me and Laura was best friends, Scooter was my guy.
Rest in peace, Scooter. That's
Yeah,
my dude.
rest in peace, man. That was my dude, man.
Yeah.
We was gladiators. I fought Scooter probably 100 times.
Man.
Word up.
Wrestling matches.
Yeah, he used to come knock on my door and ask me to fight. Like, yo, I think you won, man. I need a rematch. I'm like, this nigga. Word up, man.
Sometimes you get tired of it. Sometimes you did, I think I was a born fighter, man.
Yeah. You told about what wrestling, the WWF? What's that?
WWF. It was back then. It was Worldwide
Oh,
Wrestling
Hogan?
Federation. No, hell no.
Who-
Jimmy
who?
Snicker.
Jimmy
Jimmy
Snicker.
Superfly
Oh
Snicker.
yeah. He had to be fly.
The top ropes.
I wasn't one of those.
Hulkamaniacs.
Hell no, take your vitamins and say your prayers type of guy. You know what I'm saying? You little Hulkamaniacs running around.
Yeah.
Nah, not me. I'm a Superfly.
Randy Macho Man.
Superfly.
That's it.
Not Randy Macho Man. It was
Jake the Snake.
I liked him because he did the DDT.
Junkyard Dog.
JYD was all right, but
Yeah.
it was the dude who used to come running to the ring real fast.
Not Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior. I like Ultimate Warrior.
That was the guy.
Tito Santana. But I was into he used to be wired. We used to be cracking up. And he used to come running to the
He
ring.
did the rope.
Yeah, he was. We swear he was coked up coming in.
He was.
Yeah, I know.
Now you know.
Right now, but we used to say that, man. He high because he just can't run it too fast.
Yeah. Outside of the scrapping and wrestling in your early childhood, what was it like growing up? What was you into?
Growing up in New Haven was rough, man. In the 80s, like I'll tell you a story. Like because actually I got stabbed when I was 8 years old.
Stabbed at 8.
Yeah, right corner of Sylvan and Ward. There was a store there called Lulu's.
By a grown man, a grown woman.
Two older guys tried to take my mother's cigarette money. I told you I couldn't come home beat up.
Yeah.
Right. So my mom had zero tolerance for that. So it was like really zero tolerance. Like, they back then you used to be able to go to cigarettes like probably 90 cents. You used to go to the machine, put the change in, put the cigarette slide out.
Moody know about that, right?
So,
yeah, 10 cents Lucy's. I know about that.
But, you know about
I don't smoke no more though.
Pulling it out and the cigarette come down.
Nah, I ain't know about that. I
I
wasn't old enough for that.
I remember that.
I wasn't old enough for that.
Dude, we only like a year or two apart.
I wasn't old enough for that. They stopped that.
So anyway, they tried to take the change. It was two of them. Like I could, wasn't letting them just take the change. So I'm fighting one of them. One of them picked up a stick with some rusty nails and banged me in the stomach with it. And I remember holding my intestines in my hand, and I walked to the corner, 8 years old, and I stayed in the ICU for like a month.
And your joints was hanging out?
I walked to the corner and I called out to this girl named Sean, and she looked. And when she looked, it was Sean Dixon. She looked. When she looked, she lost her mind.
Yeah.
And then,
How old was she at the time?
She probably had to be at least 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she picked me up and ran me down to my house. And
shout out to Sean Dixon, man. That's her name, Sean?
Yeah, Sean Dixon. I've seen her in years, but Sean picked me up, carried me down to my the house. We lived on 62 Sylvan Avenue at the time. And my sister's father, Mike Robinson, he basically saved my life because he took a cold cloth and he tucked my intestines back in, and then I heard the ambulance coming.
Oh wow!
So and I remember like I had a near-death experience at 8 years old. And
So
I'm not
you here for a real reason. You here for a reason,
right? Because now that ain't even just the half of the story. Now the thing was this. I remember asking the doctor. I remember he was a surgeon. He had an afro. He had thick glasses. And I asked him one question. I said, "Am I going to die?" He was like, "No, you're going to be all right." And I didn't understand it at the time, but a few minutes later, man, I was looking down at myself. I remember looking down at myself, and I remember hearing a voice say, "Not yet." And when the next time I woke up, I was in ICU. So I was out of school.
So you was sniffing at 8.
It was. I had a real death experience. Not yet. Anyway, but I had a real like that was like I didn't understand the time watching the program one time, right?
So our mom do something about that. Like you took one in the stomach for her. How she felt about that? Because she taught you to.
That family moved that same night.
Yeah, they had to go.
Yeah,
So 8-year-old Tom said what?
Mama
said what? Mama wasn't having that.
Right, that's the last thing. Like, my mother had zero tolerance. I'm trying to tell you. So it was like, but it was just the principle of me allowing somebody to take something from me. That wasn't.
That ain't happening.
So I stayed in the hospital for like a month, and I remember getting a whole bunch of cards from my second grade classmates, and family coming up there, and so I got out the hospital. 2 weeks later, I turned around and got hit by a car. So,
at 8.
At 8, man.
Yeah.
So
8 was real.
Yeah,
8 was the realest. It was the realest.
8 was real.
Yeah.
8 and then 15, but 8 was real because I was, like I remember chasing this girl across the street, and
bang.
And I remember going up under the car and holding on to the bottom of the car.
Yeah. What kind of car was it? Punch buggy?
Nah, it was like a Duster.
Yeah.
So I remember holding on to it and looking at the bottom of the car. And when the car stopped, I rolled up from under the car and was like, "Did y'all see that?" So
you ain't go to the hospital on this trip?
Yeah, I did go back. I did go back to the hospital.
Yeah.
But I remember looking at the 2 Puerto Rican ladies who were driving. They was bawling. I didn't understand why. I just, like they was bawling. I mean, they was bawling.
What street that happened on?
Sylvan Avenue.
Sylvan and like
Sylvan and Ward, okay, you know, because that was the hangout. Ward Street was the
yeah.
hangout coming up when I was young.
You feeling invincible right now.
So,
if it was any animal to describe you, what animal you identify with?
Silverback, baby.
Silverback gorilla. What about you, Moody?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm the duck, man. So I'm
duck, quack, quack. You know, my people's call me the bear, man. So I'm saying I'm a grizzly, man. I'm a grizzly. But shout out to the Silverbacks and the Ducks.
I need to fly south for the winter. I ain't make it.
But shortly after that, I think my grandma had a conversation with my mother and was like, I think he should come stay with me for the summer.
And that was in Fairhaven.
Yeah, that was
on Haven Street.
That was in Haven Street. Yeah, that was, you know, so and there once again, you know, my grandparents was living there. I remember we would you know, every day she would wake up and make my grandfather lunch, and he was working out at Hammonasset Park.
Yeah, I remember
when they was constructing it, he was doing that. We drive there every morning. I didn't even know they was divorced.
Oh, wow.
So I ride, you know. He slept downstairs, you know.
So you know, there's many schools in New Haven. You know, give me what the schools that the school system that you've been through from kindergarten. What's your elementary, middle school?
The most I could say, I went to Columbus, Fairhaven, and Cross for 2 years.
God damn it, Cross.
Yeah.
Cross.
Hill House.
Shout out to Cross, man.
I'm a
Cross guy.
Class of 91.
No, you career, man.
I went to career.
You went to career?
I went to Cross, and then I got kicked out of Cross because the island and the jungle had a big fight. And they kicked me out.
Well,
you was going to school when that happened.
Well, I got kicked out of Cross. See, that's the difference. You know, like I said,
I'm a class of 93.
I got you know, it's a difference between dropping out and getting kicked out. I got kicked out, and then it's been about 3 months later, I got my license on the first try.
Yeah.
So, I remember they gathered us. They did us what's name style too, lean on me style too. They had everybody. They gathered everybody up in that
What, Cross?
Yeah, gathered everybody, because back by then they was the beef was so real with KSI in the Ville that they transferred all them dudes to Cross. So
because the Ville House.
So it was like you had the island, you had Herbert Street, you had the jungle, you had the tray up in there, and you know, like Eastern Circle was quiet, Franklin Street was just coming up, but other than that, then it was like a 4-way beef, man, every day. Yeah. It was real. So they did us like Dr. Joe Clark style. They gathered everybody up in the auditorium.
Why did you get kicked out?
I was affiliated
with what?
With Herbert Street Posse. We was beefing with the tray, and the jungle, but it was us in the island versus the tray and the jungle at the time.
And in high school, that 1 year it was a big crazy brawl between the island, jungle, whatever. I ain't even go to school that day, and I got kicked out. They kicked out everybody that lived on Peck Street, down in Bailey, English, Dover Drive,
co-discriminated,
Front Street. All the dudes that was 14 to 17 that kicked out of school.
You know what's crazy? you probably couldn't even change your address because your peoples lived on all them streets.
Everybody, Downing Street, Dover Drive, English, Bailey. I was everywhere.
So Tom, you know,
Peck.
I know you've been in the streets, you know, so. Like, you know, tell us about that. Like growing up and being introduced to New Haven crime life.
Well, I got introduced to the streets at 10 years old, with permission, right? Congress and Highlock, they had a restaurant there called R&F, and across the street from it, where the substation that was a spot called the Busy Bee.
Dog, you know about Busy Bee?
No, I'm not from that side of town.
So
you the age limit.
But I'm dating myself here a little bit, but like I said, I started out in '83. That's how I got introduced into the streets, '83, and I used to just hold drugs, and I had a little crew, and this lady I used to roll with, every day she gave me $10 in quarters, play the video games.
That was your introduction and your pay?
That wasn't.
What was the pay? What was the pay at 10?
I pay for me. I don't know what my mother was getting, but I was getting like $1.50 a week at 10. And I used to dress like the big boys too. I used to wear the shredded devil jeans, and I had the BVDs on.
Yeah.
And I used to the big boys used to run right by me every day.
Cause you was 10. They're supposed to read
more drugs on me than the older guys, and so
and that's what they did. They was kind of grimy for that.
They ran right by me every day. They had no idea. Only thing they probably do was bring me home anyway back then. Yeah, but
Well, Welly Avenue. I don't know. 1983. The juvenile detention was
Orange Street.
Yeah, Orange Street.
It was Orange Street, and I was one of the first ones when they opened Little Welly to go transfer from Orange Street to, but that was in *87 though. When they first cracked Welly Avenue, Little Welly opened. I had to go there because I had I was always getting in fights with somebody, and their mothers were calling the police. I always was getting charged with risk of injury and assault.
Yeah.
Always, and so. From and I lived a double life too. So, but because when I moved with my grandmother, and this I'm just moving a little bit further, like in 1986. I used to take rides up to the city with the chick, and I was like 13. I used to do my homework in the back, and she would give me $150. We'd go to 143rd, and she would tell me to back at McDonald's, and I go shopping.
Sure.
McDonald's
on Broadway.
Yeah. I'm talking about.
Was that 150 for a 13-year-old?
Around there, yeah.
I mean, that's true. Back then, it was good money.
I'm talking 86, but I never held no drugs though. I just went for the ride.
Yeah. $1.50 for the ride. You're doing your homework in the back.
Yeah, that's cool. I was fresh in the 7th grade. I was fresh in the 7th grade. I had nameplate. I had jewelry. Yeah. I was rocking the waves back then. So, I remember going to my first New Edition concert in '86. And I told, I'm not, mentioning their names, but I told her that what these dudes had on, they had Coca-Cola suits on. Yeah. And I described, and I told her,
you said no names? What did that say on the bottom right there? What did that say on the screen?
I'm here to protect the guilty.
So you went to that concert, and
that concert was New Edition, Force MDs, and Sherelle and Sherelle. So
now I'm talking about the one where something happened. I don't remember it, but I was young.
By then I was with the bullshit, so I was hanging outside. You must be talking about the Hartford New Haven one.
Yeah.
My man Mike Younger got killed. I remember that one. Yeah, I was just a freshman in high school when that happened.
And we ain't had no concert until the next one where we was at.
Well, there was a few ones in between that. Before that,
I remember.
I thought they
that was just one. That was just one they had a long time because I done been to the ones. I done been to quite a few Fresh Fest. I done went to the one you talking about. Went to before that. It was Slick Rick and Big Daddy Kane and LL Cool J. When that was '89.
You went to that one, Dark? You was getting money then. You was getting money. I remember that's when I came out to the projects when Scooter was getting money. So I know you was out there getting money. Yeah. That's when I came to the project, '89.
I probably went there. I don't remember, man. What's the name? Matt got shot at that concert. Matty Yo, that was it.
Oh yeah, he told us, Matty Yo, man, Black Goat Milk, man, clothing, man.
Black Goat Milk.
Yeah,
go get that, man.
That's my dude. He
Black Goat Milk clothing, man. Official. His clothing is official, man.
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
He got shot by the police in the head.
Yeah,
and he survived that.
My boy,
people here for a reason, man.
Yeah. I know I'm here for a reason.
Word up.
So
hey, yo, let's fast forward, right? We back. You was just 10. Let's go to when you went in. Because you was falsely accused for something.
But prior to that, I went in and I went in 90 at 17 for a bunch of gun charges and some drugs. Yeah. But when I got out of 92.
How much time was out in 2 years?
I did 2 years. Actually, just what happened was when I got arrested. First day they had me on a $350,000 bond. Let me tell you a story. I was sitting, they just keep in Union Avenue forever. Back then I was in Union Avenue for 21 days. First, my mother came down to see me, talk to me because they asked me whether I had anything to do with it, and I told her I ain't have nothing to do with this one right here. Like I remember the police when they snatched me up for question, they said my name was coming in quite a few assaults around the way. So they basically wanted to get me off the streets.
Yeah.
And these bastards, they literally gave me a case, put one on me, and so I
the New Haven police.
Yeah, homicide division. One of them dead. They just call him Snowball.
Put them out there.
And other one is
put them out there, man.
Pontu,
Put them out there, man.
Yeah, Pontu. So let me. I will get back to a story with him. I ran into him at a funeral years later, and I put him on a spot in front of his peoples because I walked up to him and extended my hand and told him I forgive him for doing me dirty.
Yeah.
So
for putting the false case on you.
Yeah, he was standing. He had the cheap look on his face, that united look on his face. That confused look.
Yeah.
That's the look. He had that look on his face. But I had to get it off my chest for the sake. But they bagged me in 92, and even I had a probable cause hearing, and the dude didn't even identify me at the probable cause hearing. They still found probable cause on the lowest threshold of identification.
So in 1992, just to clarify, I don't know if what you was charged with. What?
I was charged with murder. In 1992, they had me on a $350,000 bond. I waited 45 days for the bond reduction hearing. They dropped my bond to $100,000.
And you came home on bond?
Yeah, I got out on bond. And but then they don't like, one thing you should know, they don't like for you to get out on bond. Because they don't expect for you to be black and be able to post a bond.
Yeah.
They be thinking you gonna stay and they got you. They think because it's a body that they got you, not knowing your family dynamics. And
they're giving them dudes $2 million now.
Right, they holding them ransom. The first bond is $2 million. That's a ransom note.
Now if you lose in the appeal bond, that's gonna be like $5 million.
Right. So the police was pissed off. Like I had to go get a job while I was on a bond because I tried to go back hanging out. They was
around the same way.
Yeah. They used to be on my heels. They used to be nervous.
So those two officers, what was his name? Snowball?
It was Snowball. He dead now. Rest in peace.
Yo, it ain't funny, but the way you said "rest in peace" was funny. Yo,
from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, that was kind of like
not him. I didn't get a chance, but like I said, rest in peace.
Yeah. Yo, you ever been a victim of police brutality, like jumped by the police?
Yeah, I had a fight with. I don't know if you remember punk ass Ratty. Yeah. I had a fight with. I had a fight with him. In front of my own grandmother's house. They
jumped you?
I beat the first two up.
You said it or they said it?
I said it because I told him not to put his hands on me.
Okay. He put his hands on me.
I gave him the business.
Yeah. He didn't know about that work?
No, he did. He found out that night.
Yeah.
He told the prosecutor he had my handprint around his neck for 8 days. I ran into him at a bank last year at Key Bank.
He remembered you?
Yeah, they get that. You know how somebody give you that head nod of respect when they see you, they nod that head? Yeah, that's what he gave me.
Right. You ever been a victim of police brutality, Moody? You ever fought any police?
I wasn't a victim of police. I was.
But I came up in that era when they had the beatdown posse too.
Yeah, so you've been jumped by the police before?
No,
you got low. You caught flight.
Most of them guys like Billy White, they knew my father. My father used to be a New Haven police officer back in the days. Because I remember the first night they jumped on us, I screamed his name. I said, "Anybody know Mike Crowley?" He was like, "Yeah." Well, I was like, "That's my dad." They was like, "All right, you're not gonna touch him."
Yeah.
But the other two guys,
they
gave it to him. Like I was down Union Avenue like every other night, man, late night hanging out there, because the van they came faithfully around the time.
They snatched
everybody up, man. I remember they snatched me one night I was on my way to Nick and Neil's, and I was on my way going to Nick and Neil's to look for trouble too. So, you know, like,
all this is why y'all on bond.
nah, I'm going back to 89, 88 when they first came out. But I was on a bond. I was like 19. I had to get low, you know. And then they start coming with the violation of probation warrants. They, you know, they can get you. You know, they do whatever they can to get you off the streets.
Wow.
And, you know, like,
they wanted to bring you back in.
Yeah, they wanted, you know, to get me in. So that July '93, I actually went back in.
Yo, tell us about the exoneration, like how that happened.
I copped out to 9 years in August of '94, which was
For murder.
Yeah, they dropped it down to manslaughter. Yeah, up under the Alfred doctor saying that. Yeah, I know I ain't really do it, but it's a chance that you might
enough evidence to find me guilty.
Right, you know,
circumstantial.
And the way they doing things, 9 years, both brothers will jump on that fast.
Man, I already had time in.
Yeah.
You know, so you know it was 50%. You know, and it was like, you know, it was around the time OJ did that bullshit. So you know, we didn't really have a shot. Because I remember I was jury picking, and I went back to Welly Avenue, and I remember it was 1994. It was the Knicks was playing the Spurs, and they cut that game off. Because I would go back every night. I would go back to Welly Avenue with a headache.
Yeah, don't remind me about that.
See,
Spurs joint.
Yeah, so every night, and it's just a New York fan all around the place.
Yeah, I'm a Knicks fan.
So man, like I remember white folks was using words like colored. Right? I don't like colored people. I don't know if he wanted to get out of you know.
No, she wanted to get out of
jury. It was a white guy out of Guilford said it, you know, during the voir dire.
Yeah.
And, you know, and
he wanted to get out.
Yeah, you know, but I didn't even nobody use that word though.
Was he old or what?
No, he wasn't old. You know, I was 19, so all of them were older than me.
Yeah.
You know, well, actually, I'm about 20 by the time that happened. So, and that, you know, so what happened was, fast forward to May '95, I'm up in Chester already because I was already in for a couple of years. So, and back then it was 50%. So I figured, you know, I could do enough. You know, I could do 2.5 more years. You know, I would still come home and be like 25, 26, and my son would just be making it to grade school, like first grade. And so it was like, but it was hard though because, you know, like, this is how you know the system is rigged because the judge at the time, you know, I asked my father, what was I to him? He said, that's my son. And he was like, I know it's a hard thing for you to do, but you should tell him to take a deal because they're gonna find him guilty.
Your dad told you that.
The judge told his dad that they're gonna find him guilty before he.
You heard it. You heard the judge say that.
Yeah, he told you. So what they did was something they never did before. They let him come down the lockup and talk to me.
Yeah.
Right, that was, you know, so I remember, shout out to Trent too, because he was downstairs when I got sentenced. Quite a few of us was downstairs that day. What's his name was down there too. Earl Kelly was down there that day. You know, dudes were just copping out, you know, just trying to get things over with so you can get the time on, you know, like, and I used to always come down. I would never come to court with a Quran or a Bible because them were the two wrong books to come to court with. Come to court with that blue book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. So and I took the 9 years. Got sentenced August '94. I'll say around November '94. A few heads on my team got busted by the feds, and then around April or May, I was up in Chester. I was deep into my bed. I had a job every day working in the law library. My old head, I was in the cell with Mansour. He got me a job working in the law library. I got called back up to the block, and the counselor at the time was like, you need to call your lawyer. It's like, for what? It's like, I don't know. Your lawyer just called up here, you know. So I called my lawyer. He said, you remember the prosecutor? He's a judge now by tally, you know.
Nah.
Right, he's a judge now. He was a prosecutor back then. Al Vitale. He's a judge now. He happened to be on the team, the federal investigation team, when they busted my peoples, and somebody gave him some information up, and you know, and they said, yeah, I'm familiar with that name. I just prosecuted that case. So the information they gave him was enough to for them to let me go. So he said, and the lawyer said that he explained the whole thing to me. He was like, they're gonna drop the charges.
Which charges was this?
It was the manslaughter charge.
Oh wow!
I was like, I was on the phone. I couldn't believe. I was like, you serious? You for real? He was like, yeah. You know, because I called.
Somebody got snatched up and told who really did the murder.
Yeah, basically.
So, yeah.
You know, so like they had information, and
so you got a shout out for Chuck E. Cheese on this one.
Anyway, or it was just an ace in the hole.
Yeah.
But I was I called. The first person I called was my grandmother. You know, she couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe it. But they if it wasn't for somebody, you know, and I had to recently you know just apologize to this kid without even making a mention, because he knew what I was talking about. Like basically, if he ain't never telling these dudes, then I wouldn't have never got out.
Yeah.
Right. So you know, like I said, I'm protecting the guilty, and I'm not giving nobody no honorable mentions.
No doubt. I respect it.
And that was it was just a life-changing situation. You put things in perspective of how this police culture has been they just been doing us dirty for years. You know, like, you know, I was just one of the earliest ones.
Yeah.
And, you know,
let me ask you a question though. Like, after doing all the time and growing up in the streets and banging out and hustling since 10, I can relate to that. What made you want to change your life and live a different lifestyle, like be an entrepreneur or get a 9-to-5? And what changed that? What changed your mindset? Like, this is what I'm doing.
Well, dudes was meeting their fathers in jail, and I didn't want my son to meet me in jail.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to, you know, dudes, you know, or even be in a cell with me. So that was my main motivation. So when I would hear dudes say, "Yo, man, you never believe who I'm in the cell with," because I remember being in NYI with these cats, and nobody ever talked about their fathers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these dudes like, well, at Tom, you never gonna believe this. Well, I just met my dad. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Just met your father. Yeah, how you know your father? He told me. And I guess they certain circumstances, and these dudes they would end up in the cell with their fathers, and I
want that to be your life.
Because I knew what this world had to offer my son as a young black boy, and what they didn't have to offer me either.
Yeah.
So that was my main motivation was not coming back, not, you know, just not wanting him to be part of that culture. So, you know, when I got out in '95, he was only 5 years old. It was, you know, it was right on time, because years later, when I had to have the you don't want to go to jail conversation, he had no recollection of even coming to visit me. So I was liking that right there, because you don't remember coming to see me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and so that was my main motivation was I just didn't want my, you know, I just didn't want that to be my legacy.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm gonna talk about, you know, what I remember from '97, and you being on the bike, you and your son. I told you that. A couple of days ago. I said, yes. I remember that. You on your bike, your son on your bike. You know what I'm saying? I said, look at this father, you know what I'm saying, bike riding.
Yeah, you made me feel good that you remembered that. Like when you say you shocked me, because that you remember that, just particularly because we did used to go bike riding. Because
you used to come to your mother's house.
Yeah.
You lived on Sylvan, right, Moody?
Nah, this one he was on Exchange in Blacksley.
Oh, you lived over there too?
Yeah.
His mom's next door to my mom.
Yeah.
So you know, like, and you know, but that was just, you know, that was father and son time, because, you know, me and his mother was married and they got divorced, so that was part of the joint custody. He was getting time, you know, getting time with him, you know, during this. I had him like 6 weeks out the summer, you know, and You know, the whole objective was take them bike ride and wear them out so I can go home and go to the alley cat that night.
Yeah.
Alley cat.
Get them tired, knock out, so I can do what I do.
Right, but I always promised him, because he would, you know, he would watch me get dressed, and I always promised him. He'd be like, "Daddy, when I wake up in the morning, you gonna be in the bed with me?" And I just like, "Yeah."
How many kids you have?
3 altogether. I still have to count him because he's still, you know, because he's still mine. You know,
just in case nobody know who Tom is, or you're not from New Haven, you don't know the story. If you want to tell them about what happened to your son through gun violence.
Yeah. Fortunately, March 2009. I was actually I had moved out of New Haven. I left New Haven 2007. I moved all the way to Indianapolis. I moved there. I got married and moved there. And what brought me back here was it was time for me to go to court for that lawsuit for the murder. And it was, they eventually used the word indemnity on me and told me that the police weren't financially responsible for me. Like, but you know, my argument was like, if I would never have been wrongfully arrested, I would have to be put in this predicament in the first place if they really did thorough police work. So I came back for that. You know, when I came, I had just left because he had just graduated from high school. He did make it through high school. He graduated from Cross in 2008. So I came back up here. I also came back up here because I had ignorantly transferred my probation down there, not knowing that laws vary from state to state. And I didn't do my research. I was like, no, I would have never left New Haven. This state is sweet to do probation time at, because down here you got to pay a probation fee. Yeah, you got to pay not just a probation fee, but you got to pay for your urines. Wow. I wasn't with none of that.
When I was trying to get parole down to North Carolina, you know, hanging with my boy Johnny J, and they was like, "Yo, you gotta pay." I'm like, "I ain't got no money."
It was like, listen, I wasn't used to that. Like, I'm not paying for nothing. They, you know, I came down there with that up north mentality too. They wasn't taking that. I was like, you know what, I was like, you might as well get the paperwork going. I'm not coming back here no more. You know, so I came back up here. I got back up in December 2008. They violated my probation. So Damiani, rest in peace to him too. He died from a bee sting. So
wow.
Yeah. I sentenced me to 2 weeks for violation of probation. And my very last week I was supposed to come in that Monday. That Sunday, I was in Welly Avenue. I was in the dorms. They woke me up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and get dressed, go to the lieutenant's office, and I'm getting dressed. I got dressed, and on the way down to the lieutenant's office, like the first thing came to my mind was I hope my mother's okay. Yeah. Furthest thing that I would, when I got there, the furthest, that was what they was about to tell me was the furthest thought from my mind. Yeah. It was the furthest thought from my mind. And I got down there, and Lieutenant, she was a lady, Kill. I remember she was, the first thing she asked me, she's like, what's your son's name? And I was like, why? She said, what's your son's name? And I said, why? So I need you to tell me your son's name. But I got that feeling in my stomach. So I just came out, I just said Thomas Daniels Jr. And she was like, your son got killed last night. And I had to back up against the wall to hold myself up. So I just got quiet, and I couldn't believe it. I just went in a state of shock immediately. And I said, can I use your phone? I said, yeah. And I called my mom's. It was might have been about 7 rather in the morning. And I knew she was asleep, and I could tell she was trying to figure out why am I calling her this early.
So she hadn't known yet? She
didn't. Yeah. Because his family was dead, like his aunts, his mother, and they were trying to figure out where I was at, because nobody knew I was locked up for just 2 weeks. He didn't know it. Like, actually, he knew it because he asked my brother what was up with my dad, and my brother told him, like, your father in jail. And he was like, in jail, like, because he was not used to me being locked up.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
He just had a strange look on his face. My brother said, I was like, because he never heard nobody say your father locked up, because he's used to me always being around. Because I got a chance to coach. I met every last one of his teachers from kindergarten to the high school principal, and I was able to coach his baseball and basketball team. So I was always
present.
I was around. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was, when I called my mother, I can hear her trying to figure out where I'm at. Like she know I'm in jail, but I can hear her voice. Why am I calling this early? So I said, I need you to sit up. I gotta tell you something. And she's like, all right, I'm sitting up. And I was like, Mom, Tank got killed last night. And I just never heard nobody scream like that in my entire life. And I could still hear it in my head sometimes when I think about it. But so what happened was I got out that Monday. The funeral happened to be a Friday on my brother's birthday. So, that was just a terrible time for the whole family.
Yeah.
But see, me being the protector that I am, me and my right hand man, I was looking for somebody. Oh, because we was looking for somebody that's
only natural.
I was 36. I went right back to the 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I went right back to being 16 again, and for 3 days, I was looking for this dude, and even got his address, and it was like sitting in front of his house, and when I look back and play it back, it was like we was sitting in front of his house, and in the whole time he was coming in the back door, and it never occurred to us to go check the back. And then, then I had to look at it, I had to accept the fact that it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so when so after the funeral, it was like I went into a deep depression. I called my 3Ds because at the time I was dealing with death, divorce, and depression. The divorce was easy out of the three.
Yeah.
That was easy because I still had to deal with the death and the depression, it was just a rough time. I didn't eat my first full meal probably to that Thanksgiving.
I never told you. I'm related to your son.
I know.
Oh, you do. You know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, when I was locked up, somebody had told me, and it was like, that's Tom's son. They said the mother, and I was like, that's my cousin's sister, right? Because I'm still doing a family tree while I'm locked up. Who my cousins?
Well, the Bells.
Yeah, Arnold Bell.
Yeah. So, Miss Moody, called Candy.
Yeah.
Great grandmother.
So once I felt that, at that time, and when I'm in prison, I'm on the bull. If they would have came up in there. I mean, I was doing my homework, so I went back to my 17-year-old self.
Yeah. Hey, yo, so this was one of the reasons why you started the Father's Cry 2 thing.
It was a life-changing situation. And so what happened was we would me and A Love Father get together, Dumps and the French Street Father happened to get together, and we would like I would ask all these older dudes like, how you handle this, how you do with it, and we as men, we internalize things, and they would just simplify and say, I just deal with it, nephew, and keep walking, that wasn't good enough for me, man.
You asked them how they would
deal how you deal with this death, how you deal with it.
From a father, you asked another father.
Because they lost their sons previously with losing mine. This was new to me, man. You know what I'm saying?
The Father's Cry 2, tell us about it.
Well, Father's Cry 2 is a peer therapy support group for men who lost their children to gun violence, because after I did grievance counseling, there wasn't no aftercare for Black men, and this for men in general. And we needed an outlet. We needed each other. We needed to talk. It was just men relating to each other.
Yeah.
And And one of our goals and objectives, we want to debunk all myths and stereotypes that Black men are desensitized and prone to violence.
Yeah.
So
do a lot of people come to these things or call? And
well, we still got a core group member, but you know, and I found myself within the last this March will be 14 years already.
Yeah, that your son passed.
Yeah.
How long the foundation been going on?
13 years, and a year to the date.
The year to the date of the death, or
the year to the date of his death.
Yeah.
We started at March 15th, 2010.
Do you have to have lost a child to be a part of the group?
No. It started out like that, but no, you don't. If you just want to be part of the solution.
Yeah. So anybody who dealing with grief from losing a child, or they know somebody who lost one,
A friend,
could they could
cousin.
contact you at this number and email?
They're still relevant. My phone number is still the same, and that email address is still the same.
Yeah.
If you look at the logo, you see a strong man holding that child, right?
Yeah.
With a tear coming down his eye.
More fathers need to, be, like I said, I always big up Darkest. I always big up Carlito. I always big up my boy Sal for being active fathers in their children's lives. So, I think
this
we
is
need more
something
of that.
that no parent should go through, is outliving their children. I know it's devastating. It's nothing that you could say to make it right, or there's nothing you could say.
Well, because we know it's out of order. You know that, right? Because our children's supposed to bury us, like we're supposed to bury our parents.
Yeah.
Right. And so and his nickname was Tank. Now that's an acronym. It's taking action not to kill.
You turned it into an acronym.
Me and my moms came up with that. That's the second tier to the Father's Cry 2. The Father's Cry 2 is the therapeutic part.
Yeah,
right.
My baby nickname Tank. That's what I call Layla.
Well, his name was Tank because he was a chubby baby until he caught the chicken pox, and then his aunt named him Tank, and it stuck. And he was well loved, and not just in the Hill, but in the whole New Haven, because his funeral was at St. Paul's, and it was flooded. The fire department had to come and shut it down. Yeah, it was a big funeral. Which was a testament to his legacy, but obviously somebody didn't like him, and they eventually ended up catching the kid. He home now, actually, because he started ratting for the feds. I can't put it no other way.
Yeah.
So so
black lives don't matter, dead or alive. These are career moves for these prosecutors.
Yeah.
And they would rather let somebody go, right? They'll let a murderer go.
Yeah, upward mobility.
They get somebody else, right? And forget
lesser.
about the family of Tank. I'm not gonna say victims or nobody. I don't want to say no victims. I'm gonna use his name. Instead of talking to y'all about he's gonna get let out because he's snitching for us. They didn't have that discussion with you.
No, I got a letter from the feds.
Oh.
I got a letter from the feds giving me his release date, what halfway house he was going to be in, where they're going to relocate him to, and all that. But in order for me to sit here and talk about and get this thing going, because I didn't know what he looked like for years. Is what I had to do was and it wasn't easy. I had to forgive a stranger.
Yeah.
And talking right now, this is therapeutic for me. Right now, every time I talk about it, it's therapeutic. So this is free therapy. Thank you all.
But one more question from me is, would you be able to forgive him if you see him face to face?
I already did forgive him, and plus, my mindset is different.
Yeah. So I was forgiven from Marquise Clark's father. I went to church with him, and this is, I killed his son, and him and his Marquise sister and her father invited me to church.
You will see, it's coming from my father's point of view of loss. I had to do it for my sake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because in order for me to move on in life and not hold myself hostage, you know, like, because, you know, we got a tough time forgiving friends and family members and things. So, but to forgive us, to forgive somebody that I couldn't put a face to for a long time, and at the same time, you know, I believe in karma. I let the universe to take care of them.
Okay.
You know, so but it attested to my changing lifestyle, man. You know what I mean? Like now,
if you got to say something to the youth out there, man, about the streets, gun violence, education, whatever it may be, what you got to say to the youth?
If you love your parents, you won't want to go through what I'm going through.
Wise words, man.
Vote for Troy Streeter.
Vote for Troy Streeter.
We here.
Listen, if you guys need a grief counseling or to talk to somebody about a loved one, Thomas Daniels, the founder of Father's Cry 2. And if y'all get hungry, man, y'all already know what to do. So come to La Isla Spanish restaurant, man.
Ask for
come
a
get
dark.
that old good food, that Juan Castillo special. You know what I mean? Ask for a little dark.
You don't get. Oh no, that warranty out.
The Moody special going.
That's only for the weekend.
I mean? Shout out to my beautiful wife. You know what I mean? Her great recipes, and we appreciate Tom for coming on the show, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Well, we appreciate you,
and
man.
Shout out to my wife, Joyce Moody. I love you, baby.
Word.
Troy Streeter, let's go, man.
Word up. Let's go. Elect him if you're in the 21st ward, man. We out. DARC Moody.